Hello, and welcome back to Weaver Stonehouse Farms. We're glad you're here for another adventure, and this time, well, we're fixing the backhoes. Hold on. So here's the problem. Our wonderful, lovely Case 580B backhoe, it always whined ever since I bought it. We ran it, figured, well, run her till she breaks. Well, break she did. We no longer have hydraulic pressure. It just kind of stopped. So talked to some people that I know, and they said, check your pump. So, and we did the filters last year, and the filters really weren't that bad. So there's the grill that's on the front of it. That was held in by 3/8 bolts in here for us, so obviously 1/2-inch heads. Then the other trick part, saw this from another YouTuber, but he didn't have it on the front end of his video. Take this front bumper plate off. This one right here. So the bolts for mine are 15/16. So this last one, they're kind of tight, mine more, and you got to get down in there with 15/16 wrench, which it can be a little tricky. Important to note, you do not need to remove those bolts totally. You just need to get them loosened, as that front is notched, so it'll slide off of the bolts. Loosen them because it's slotted. You can just make it loose enough. Okay, that's what. Hey, look out. Okay, let's not lose all the nuts, bolts, and washers. There's 2 over there. Sweet. We can get to the pump. Hooray. Pull it apart, take a look at it, and yeah, I did change that filter last year, so. Okay, we have to take that hose loose there, and then that fitting, I'll take it loose there, and then there's inside, we got the, on the flange, got to take bolts off. Okay, so this one down here was really tight. This one with the backer wrench and the pipe wrench on it, I was able to pop that loose. And then we'll get that turned loose, and then we're going to take that out. We did drain the fluid out.
So up there. Yep. This right here. That right there. It was pretty. Once we got it loose, it was pretty easy to get.
And it took, what, 2 5-gallon buckets?
Yep, 2 5-gallon buckets.
But in reality, 3, wasn't it? Because we had to have one bucket kind of tilted in.
Yeah, we had to have one bucket.
So in reality, like 3.
We had to use 3 buckets, but we ended up with 2 buckets of fluid.
Yeah. Okay, so then the other thing, the bolts down in, I was able to get a socket down in. I used 3/8 drive on this. That's 3/4 inch back there for that bolt, and then that's 3/4 inch back there for that one. I used the open end box end on it every which way but straight to get that one loose down in there for that pump housing. Loose. I sprayed PV blaster in here and tried to wipe the dirt off best I could down on this too. And then I hit it with pipe wrench. Pliers would work too to get this hose to turn a little bit. So we can try and get it down off. As we pull the pump out, I think it's moving. Finally, come on.
It's coming, slowly but surely there.
Come on. Oh.
Woo.
All right.
Cat.
What is going on?
What is it attached to still?
The front of the crankshaft.
The front.
On a coupling. What do we got?
Bam.
Oh, well, let's get that fluid down into the bucket.
Bucket down there.
Hell?
Yeah, it looks
Intact.
intact.
It's moving fluid.
That's good.
That's the wrong way. That's out. Okay, I found the problem. The shaft is loose. The splines are just That's shot. So we got to take those 4 bolts out. And 3 of them came loose pretty easy so far. Okay, so here is the pump coupling. That bolts on the crankshaft on the front of the Case 580B. And the splines that are wore out. So that was probably the humming noise. Kind of, let me get the light down in there. You can see how there's no splines anymore. It's probably why my pressure seemed to appear to get gradually worse, and I changed my filters and it was okay, but it really, I think it was just this slipping and this making this really loud whining buzzing noise. There's a grease fitting in here, but I don't know how you'd ever get in there to grease it, but yep. So there it is. So pump quits working abruptly. Check out your pump coupling on your Case 580B. This is the spline shaft from Case. This is the coupling from Case. This is broken tractor spline shaft, which is like half the money. There's the Case filter, which you can get at Napa. Here's what I got from Broken Tractor for the spline shaft. And then here's the coupling I got from Amazon that goes on the front of the crank. Yay! New parts have arrived. A big thank you to Broken Tractor. Yes. They had the shaft, and I think they have a warehouse in Ohio, I think. No, that actually came out of Louisiana. Shipping for 2-day shipping was very reasonable for just this shaft. So, yeah, very reasonable. So that's the shaft I needed. Nobody had it. Case wanted like $100 for it, $120 for it. It's freaking ridiculous. I got it for very inexpensively from these guys. And with shipping, I was still less than what Case wanted. So, and then this is the coupling, in case you've never seen one of those couplings. It's the rubber in there to help absorb any kind of shock. And you may get confuzzled by this. You look at this and go, why is there a groove in there? Should a snap ring go in there? No, that's why there's a grease zerk. So it's an attempt to go ahead and allow the grease to go around this shaft. So let's get that in there. There it is. Yeah, goes down in there and it bolts up on the crank. And the crank I was able to easily spin by hand. So I was using the fan belt to pull and spin the crank. Here's the pump and the casting number in case you would ever need it for your pump. And there's what mine looks like. So if you need a picture of it, well, maybe this will help you. One of the tricks I used is a really long screwdriver to help line up. A little bit thicker on the end would work a little better, but it's way back in there. And you got to get 2 of those bolt holes to line it up. And then I had one of my daughters hold up top from the fan side, which is really tight and tough. And then I was able to get the bolts started, and then I'll go ahead and tighten them down. And then I just snug them up now, and then we'll turn it again, get the last one in, and then we'll torque them down individually. Okay, so we got the pump in, put a piece of block of wood over it and smacked it a little bit. We got it aligned on the splines. Thankfully, again, due to my wonderful daughter helping, she reached in on the belt and wiggled it a little bit so we could get the splines lined up. And now we'll get those bolts in. Actually, I think I might, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna get that lined up first while I got a little bit of wiggle room with this pump for a bolter down tight. Yeah, okay. I'll put the bolts in last then after I get everything aligned here. Had to get myself positioned. Flares are tricky. I've worked with flares for years. Hopefully you can see that allowed it to go right in where it needs to, and we'll put that bolt in next. So all we'll do is just tighten this up, and then put those 2 bolts in. They take 3/4 inch ratchet. And then we'll put our hose clamps on the return line. Yay! The filter's right here too. We'll change that out. Okay, so I think this is a hydraulic filter. It's hydraulic fluid that came out, so I don't know what filter it is. There's like 2 hydraulic filters on this. There's one here, which I think this one up front, it may be just for the hydraulic system here. The other one in the back may be for transmission or whatever. So I do both of them. So there's your part numbers from Napa. It's 1518. There's the new one. That is a well. And there it is. Looks similar,
yeah.
Right? You can see the new one is square, more square. This has a little bit of roundedness to it. This probably holds the gasket seal a little bit tighter on the inside to allow less bypass. So we're gonna disassemble. So we'll just take that off. It's simply just a little pressure off, loosen this up, change it out. And then obviously there's spring under it, be careful. Okay. Was there an O-ring with it?
No.
No O-ring?
No O-ring.
No seal?
No.
That O-ring looks good. We're gonna put it back together. Popped in. Yay! I'm on. Like, hey, what's the torque for that? He just smiles and looks at me. I'm like, okay, old school mechanic. To the one guy, probably an old guy, that made a comment one time on one of my videos about the filter change. Thank you. It was a coupling. There's no leaks. No leaks on the filter. Down again. Holy cow! Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can get paid for all this. Because, yeah, farming bleeds you dry. Holy crap. Your subscription would help us get closer to 1,000 so we can get paid for doing these videos. We greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you next time on the farm.